Good morning, students. Today in this lecture we are going to see the design for manufacture guidelines for design for forging. First of all, what is a forging? Forging is a metal forming operation in which a billet is made to get the shape of the dies by giving localized stress on the hard material. So in this figure we can see that this is the original billet, and after applying localized stress on this hard billet, it is found to attain the shape of the die. Here we could see that this billet has undergone an extensive metallurgical change. Here the fibers are oriented like this, and after forging, that is after applying the localized stress to the material, the fibers are axially oriented. We could see this from the figure. So because of this localized stress and the axial orientation of these fibers, the forging is very strong, right? So we can get various shapes and materials that can be made through forging. In general, forging can be classified into two types: open die forging and closed die forging. In an open die forging, only a single die is used and the billet is made to progressively deform into the desired shape through a series of operations. In a closed die forging, we normally use two dies. One is the fixed die and another one is the movable die. We can give localized deformation to the billet by applying a pressure between the dies, and the material is made to flow in the gap between the dies. So we can get complex shapes and with close dimensional tolerances using this forging. Then we are going to see the design for manufacture guidelines for closed die forging, right? Similar to castings, we should give a taper allowance for the forging components also, mostly in the vertical surfaces, in order to facilitate the easy removal of the forging after the operation has been done. Here I mean forging by the completed part after the operation has been completed, right? Then the material which comes out of the parting line after the forging has been completed is known as flash. The maximum flash thickness should not be greater than 1/4 of an inch or should be less than 1/32 in an average, right? Then now see this figure. Here this is the fixed die and this is the movable die, right? This is known as the parting line. That means the line of separation between the dies, right? Now this is known as rib and this is known as web. Rib is the part which is parallel to the direction of the motion of the movable die, and web is the part which is perpendicular or normal to the direction of movement of the direction of movement of the movable die. These features are easiest to form by the deforming material when the ribs are not too high and narrow and the web is relatively thick and uniform, right? Then this parting line should be kept, as far as possible it should be kept in a single plane, right? Because this has a great influence on the grain flow, die cast and die wear, right? So in order to get a good grain flow, reduce the die cast and die wear, and also to have minimum stress arising in the service of the forged component. That means after the component has been put into service, the component should experience a less stress. So for this, the parting line should be kept in a single plane as far as possible. Then the next guidelines shows that the thickness of the adjacent parts of the forging should be kept as uniform as possible, right? Also, if the thickness of the adjacent parts vary by a greater extent, it is likely to develop laps and cracks, right? In order to avoid these laps and cracks, we must have a uniform thickness and also provide a generous radii at some desirable locations. That means required locations. And the last guideline is that mostly we have seen that the forging is done at elevated temperature. So the component is likely to get oxidized. For getting a better surface finish, these oxides has to be removed. Also, there will be some chances of warpage and mismatch where the upper and lower dies shift parallel to the parting plane. In order to compensate for these defects, that is oxides, warpage and mismatch, and also to get good dimensional accuracy, we have to provide extra material for the forged part. That means we have to provide a machining allowance. In addition to the taper allowance, that means draft allowance, we have to provide machining allowance also for the forging. Right? These are all the DFM guidelines for the closed die forging. Right? So students, in this lecture, we have seen what is a forging, what are the types of forging, what is the metallurgical change that a component or billet undergoes during forging, then what are all the DFM guidelines or design for manufacture guidelines for the closed die forging. Thank you.